Welcome to Spain and Portugal. With new friends from the USA, Canada and Australia, we were off to a great start in Madrid with a welcome dinner close to the capital's royal palace. We raised a glass of cava to toast to a memorable journey. And whilst the locals were TikToking, so were our body clocks. So to fight the jet lag, it was back to the hotel to rest up. A new day, and we took advantage of quiet roads to head south to Don Quixote country, Toledo in Castile y La Mancha. Sergio, our knight of competitive countenance, taught us of Damascene swords, the Rio Tajo's position at the crossroads of three religions, and the city's Roman origins. We could have spent a week admiring the city's door handles alone, but as the city prepared for Corpus Christi, it was time to visit Santa Iglesia Catedral Primada de Santa Maria de Toledo, Toledo's cathedral. We've all come from different corners of the world, different faiths, upbringings, outlooks and beliefs. Though in a building like this, united by a place of such historical and artistic value. Located on the site on which a mosque once stood, the high Gothic 13th century cathedral also features stunning artworks from Spain's golden age, a good taster for our afternoon visit to the Prado Museum. Time for a bocadillo de jamón ibérico de bellota, Spain's famous acorn-fed ham. A taste of marzipan, almonds, water and honey. Delicious. The town hall in Madrid looked like a wedding cake, and we even saw a wedding outside the Prado. The bride looked like a real-life princess. Every good wedding needs a good after-party, and that night we heard opera and zarzuela at Castafiore. A great way to get to know each other. After a few drinks, some sing-alongs and some dancing, we conga lined out of the place. A great start to the trip. The road trip element of our journey had begun. Leaving Madrid, we saw Civil War monuments, Disney-esque Alcazars, and stepped back 2,000 years to admire a formidable aqueduct in Segovia. A monument to human ingenuity. And today, we met Rufo, Stories of Isabella, the Queen of Castile, local meaty specialties, Roman origins, and varying climates. And Rufo wouldn't let us leave without trying a Ribeira. I complimented Rufo on his son Sergio's guiding the day before, but he let me know in no uncertain terms that he was still the smartest and the most handsome of the guiding team. Lola had the best views in the house as we headed deeper into España Profunda, Castile y León. Avila showed us an exquisite example of medieval city walls. Also the home of Saint Teresa, the mystic, poet and reformer of the Carmelites. In Spain's golden city, Salamanca, we met Inés. Known as La Dorada, the city's buildings are made from a type of sandstone that comes from Villamayor. Early 18th century Plaza Mayor always has something going on. With so many university students, the city has a cosmopolitan vibe, juxtaposed with its long history of intellects and knights. Our first glimpse of the scallop shell, the symbol of the pilgrimage, the Camino de Santiago. On our stroll through town, we kept an eye out for a frog on a skull and an astronaut from the 15th century, if you could believe it. Goodbye to our hotel of chandeliers and mirrors, mirrors and more mirrors. Portugal, the little sailor of Europe. We headed west and stopped in for a coffee and cake with one of Pedro's friends. This nation at the westerlymost point of Europe has long fought above its weight class in discovery and exploration. In Porto, the Rebelo boats bobbed along the River Douro, and the pastel buildings in the Ribeira district look like a postcard. Time for a francesinha, a green wine, and then a port wine tour at Sandeman's. With an afternoon in Porto, some walk the streets of Santa Catarina, pop their head into Majestic Cafe, admired the blue and white azulejos, the tiles of São Bento train station. Before dinner at the hotel, Anne, maybe with St. Anthony's help, even found her wedding ring. What a relief. And there was the Rooster of Barcelos, connected to the pilgrimage of Santiago and instrumental with Portugal becoming an independent nation. Ricky Dicky Day. We travelled south to Fatima with Nuno, on roads perfumed by the invasive eucalypt. The site of the 1917 Marian apparition, we saw pilgrims and devotees seeking healing in this place of great significance for the people and the history of Portugal. And we lit a candle for those at home. ginginha, a sour cherry liqueur served in a chalky cup. Lovely. Óbidos is pretty as a picture. A medieval walled city surrounded by orchards of cherry trees and vineyards. And I couldn't believe our adventurous group scaling the walls. South through the lines of Torres Vedras to the capital, Lisbon. Leonor introduced us to Calçada, the ornamental footpaths in the Baixa, the lower town, rebuilt after the 1755 earthquake. We tried typical appetisers in an Art Deco cafe from the 1920s. Our group was having so much fun that even a few pickpockets were keen to join. Thanks for having my back on that one. A night of trams, tarts and tails. Standing by the Tagus River, smelling salt air, we could better imagine the city's pivotal role in the age of exploration. The spices and riches of far-reaching exotic places arriving in port. Lisbon by night. It has a special light. Got to stay limber with all this sightseeing, and Errol stretched up for another big day. Baffling to think, imagine a rhino from India arriving on the banks of Europe. At the Tower of Bethlehem and monument to the Age of Discoveries, we learnt about Henry the Navigator, Cabral, Bartholomew Diaz, Vasco da Gama and Magellan, and how Portugal became what's known as the first global village. A collection of coaches fit for kings and queens, before the sensory delight of a pistache de Belém, coffee, sugar, cinnamon. A legacy of the Portuguese history of discovery. Tales of espionage, James Bond, lunch in Cascais, the chicken piri-piri, and a stop on the wild, westerly, windswept coastline. An afternoon in Caluche Palace, with a ballroom built for waltzing, and royal court portraits of the unfortunately nicknamed Uglies. At Café Luso, we enjoyed Portugal's nostalgic, mournful, longing national song with a quality of emotion called Saudade. We left the capital via the 25th of April bridge, with the statue of Christ the King overlooking Lisbon. With Pedro back at the helm, we headed east, with Vicky being the first to spot our morning bingo: cork, pork and stork. As we entered Andalusia, we learn about Spain's complicated and divisive tradition of bull runs and fights, and that it's not the matador politics that have left meanings. In sizzling Seville, the frying pan of Spain, we sampled traditional tapas like salmorejo and carriada, and Paco from Triana serenaded us, taking a particular liking to our Maggie. We stopped in Plaza de España as the stands for the Justin Timberlake concert were being set up. And with the smell of orange blossoms, there was romance in the air. A day trip to Cordoba, so rich in the blended history of southern Spain. Seneca the Younger, a Roman senator, here with the face of a waiter. Red and pink carnations, contrasting with whitewashed walls. Maimonides in the synagogue before the awe-inspiring Mesquita. Our guide David spoke about the concept of architecture as a way of humanising a parcel of air. And here in the Mesquita, with shared humanitarian values, architectural concepts, worship, curiosity and learning. What a privilege. Spain doesn't stay quiet and contemplative for long. We left via a 2,000-year-old Roman bridge and kept an eye out for Osborne bulls, Tio Pepe and Gema Solar on the way back to Seville. They say the blood beats hotter in the south of Spain. And on this evening, we jumped in the deep end of the intensely passionate fusion of guitar, song, and dance called flamenco. We started our evening with a lesson with local performers of dance and guitar before a professional, intense performance. As our guitarist rode off into the sunset, we popped into a local bar for cerveza, tinto de verano, and patatas bravas. Oh, and I noticed that caracoles, snails, were in season, and some even enjoyed them cooked in garlic, oil, and parsley. Sevilla, what a marvel. We bumped into some colleagues on the same itinerary, a day behind. Driving south through bold fields of sunflowers, we passed Jerez de la Frontera, home of the Horse Festival, a celebration of all things Andalusia. We spotted the limestone rock of Gibraltar, one of the pillars of Hercules, long before we saw any road signs pointing to the overseas territory. We'd arrived on the Mediterranean. Tales of inbred Habsburgs, the Spanish War of Succession, and the Battle of Trafalgar. We towed the line through the border, and despite concerns, it was all smooth sailing. All was shipshape, and we showed our true colours at Europa Point as the winds blew across from Africa. We climbed the cliffs, hoping there were no loose cannons and that the brakes were operating shipshape. St. Michael's Cave dazzled and surprised us, soaring cathedral-like ceilings and a colour and sound show. A moment of joy and reflection for Sue and Cherie, who welcomed a new member of the family to the lineage, a beautiful little boy named Charles. That's King Charles to us. From one cheeky monkey to a whole troop. And could you be any more chilled? In Casemate Square, it was time for some fish and chips, mushy peas, and a pint of lager, amongst bobbies and red telephone boxes. All of this in the southern region of Spain. Imagine. to the Costa del Sol, past golf courses and Buddhist stupas, our holiday within the tour. Lots of toes dipped in the Mediterranean, and some even braved the cold water, agreeing that it's all right once you're in. We ventured to the region's capital, Malaga, and from Gibraltar looked down at the city with its busy port. Roland took us around the polished streets with vibrant flowers in bloom. We walked the old town and around the cathedral, and then to see a Picasso statue. We learnt of Picasso's life in Picasso Square, Picasso Avenue, heard about Picasso Airport, Picasso restaurants, the car Picasso, the museum Picasso, the market Picasso. Did you know that Picasso is from Malaga? Some Roman ruins, a production centre of garum, a Roman fish sauce, before a drink at Banderas' bar, El Pimpi. An afternoon of relaxation and leisure, before an evening of local seafood specialties with Lucia. Gambas pil-pil, adobo, boquerones, coquinas, before the piece de resistance, sea bass cooked in sea salt. Just don't ask her if it comes from Portugal. From the Mediterranean to a sea of olive trees. We started the day with a carajillo, coffee, Baileys, whiskey, before heading into what are known as the Southern Pyrenees. We picked up this wild man on the side of the road who took us through the process of how the fruit goes from the trees into liquid gold. We met a farm dog that Maggie appropriately named Oliver, and I wished we could have taken him with us. In Alfarnateco, we met locals of all types, got cuddly in the kissing corner, and dined with the abuelas of the town, enjoying local fare and warm hospitality. In Granada, we toured the mighty Alhambra. Stairs, steps and sun couldn't stop us from admiring this highlight of Moorish Spain, brought to you by the two lovely sisters, Cristina and Marta. A video of green and red to show the dividing lines, political, religious, personal, between Islam and Christianity. The almost 800-year battle known as the Reconquista, culminating here in Granada. Leaving Andalusia, we headed east, spotting the cave houses of Guadix, and learnt of the Fiesta de Cascamorras, where participants are drenched in oil. It's not Spain's only messy festival. We were heading for Valencia, home to the world's largest food fight, La Tomatina. Lara and I won't be back there in a hurry. We drove through cowboy country and fields of oranges, with the song quiz to break up the journey. In Valencia, we saw bats, searched for the Holy Grail, sheltered from the rains, drank horchata and agua de Valencia before preparing Valencia's famous dish, the paella. Lorenzo got it just right, achieving the flavourful, slightly burnt layer at the bottom of the pan, known as Montserrat. The rains arrived, but we managed to find a short window to make our way to the coach, avoiding the thunder and lightning before heading to the hotel. Yeah. As the sun set and the sky cleared, I walked off some of the paella at the City of Arts and Sciences, opposite the hotel. This complex of buildings was designed by Valencia's own star architect, Santiago Calatrava. Okay, so it may have blown out the budget a little bit, but what a sight. I had some Metallica playing in my headphones. Pretty good bass player. On to Barcelona, with a quick stop in Peníscola for churros. A Knights Templar on the hill, memories of El Cid, and statues made using the Catalan style of mosaic tiles called trancades. Passing the former Roman provincial capital of Tarraco, modern-day Tarragona, we learnt about the tradition of human towers called castells, and that the lollipop, the chapa-chap or chupa-chup, was designed by Catalan surrealist Salvador Dali. Just outside of Barcelona in Sant Sadurní, Agnes toured us around Sabate y Coca. We enjoyed a light lunch of pan con tomate with Catalan cold cuts, sampling some of the local sparkling wine known as cava. I've never seen so many people take on the porron, a communal way of sharing wine. Very impressive.
So many days you are here in this part of Spain, in Barcelona city.
Barcelona, the site of the 92 Olympics, and in many ways, representative of Spain's coming of age. Amada took us into the wild minds of Antoni Gaudí in Park Güell. Inspired by all things from nature, Gaudí's Park was a perfect introduction to modernism and Barcelona. With cameras and phones bursting at the seams with more and more photos, we finished the night with time for dinner at the Maritime Front. Crema catalana. Delicious. Our final full day together. One last early rise to beat the crowds. And it paid off as we climbed the mighty winding roads of Montserrat, a site of immense natural beauty and Catalan identity. We arrived just as the honey and cheese farmers were setting up their stalls, and as the clouds lifted, we were treated to soaring views of the surrounding valleys and peaks. Back in Barcelona, the highlight was the ever-evolving Basilica of Sagrada Familia. After a morning of nature in a city on the sea, Gaudi's inspirations came clearer into focus. Who knows, maybe it will be done next time you're back. We'd love to see you again. A final evening together, a celebration meal at Dulce Hermina. We raised a glass to wonderful experiences, safe onward journeys, to new friends and future trips. Huge gratitude go to Pedro and Nuno for getting us everywhere safely and comfortably. Thank you to all of you for an exciting adventure. And thanks for travelling with Inside Vacations. I hope you've enjoyed a look back on your trip. Share with your friends and family and follow me on my YouTube channel, Patrick Davis Adventure. See you somewhere in the world. Buen viaje. Cheers and see you later.